Now, I've heard over and over again the claim that atheism is a religion. I know it's not. Usually when somebody makes this claim, I don't even bother arguing with them. But in this case, I'd like to make a valid counterpoint. Let's start off with the actual definition of a religion. Religion, a system of practices which act according to beliefs, including belief in the existence of at least one of the following: a human soul or spirit, a deity or higher power, or self after the death of one's body. Now, according to this definition, atheism most certainly is not a religion. But I can understand the idea that they're trying to convey belief, a belief system. I believe one thing, they believe another. Matter of fact, though, there are a lot of analogies out there that make this point better than I do. Atheism is a religion, like off is a television channel, like not collecting stamps is a hobby, and abstaining from sex is participating in a huge orgy. But this can't be really what they mean. Atheism is a religion, can it? I mean, I don't get tax breaks. I don't go to a certain pre-designated building once a week and bow my head and say stuff to an invisible creator, expecting stuff in return. I mean, I don't do any of these superstitious, crazy things that it's kind of required to be a religion. But, yeah, not doing something is the same as doing something? I don't think so. By the very definition of the word atheism, it's anti-theistic. It's not believing in something. Now, when they say this garbage, I don't think they really mean that atheism is a religion. I think the point that they're trying to make is that you have to have faith that there is no God. Now, in a philosophical sense, they're kind of right. I mean, you can't be 100% certain of anything. You can't be 100% sure that there's no teapot orbiting Mars. You can't be 100% sure that leprechauns don't visit your apartment at night because you're asleep. You don't know. But you can say logically the evidence points against that kind of stuff. You can only refute the arguments of that a person makes in support of something existing. For example, children have faith that Santa exists, and the evidence is there to back up that faith. You have Santa at the mall, you have books and songs about Santa, you have your parents even telling you, and kids, you know, why would parents lie to their kids? You know, and then on Christmas Day, guaranteed, you go down there, there's going to be presents under your tree. It doesn't take faith to not believe in Santa Claus. It only takes a level of awareness to know that Santa was created, I don't know, maybe I mean, Santa is an amalgam of different myths and mythologies and based sort of on an actual person. But, you know, I can logically say that Santa does not exist because I know the facts behind it. Let's apply this same logic to God. Religious people have faith that there's an invisible deity, and they see evidence everywhere they look. You know, whether this evidence was crafted or not, you know, they see the evidence, and that verifies their faith. Now, I don't absolutely disbelieve in the existence of some kind of higher power. I'm not sure. Maybe there's an invisible mathematical equation floating in the sky. Maybe Buddha is God. Maybe an invisible pink unicorn is God. I just know, though, that every shred of evidence, whether it's written down, whether it's, you know, some kind of intelligent design, something is too complex for it to just happen, I just know that all of their evidence can be refuted by actual facts. Before we even had society, we had cultures, we had tribes of primitive, on the verge of human beings, people who didn't quite understand what was going on around them. You had thunder and lightning, you had disease, you had plagues. You know, these people had repetitive pattern recognizing software built into them, you know, because it helped with survival. And they would see something that they wouldn't quite understand. They would see that the sun comes up every day. They didn't know that the sun is a big ball of hydrogen and helium gas slowly burning in space due to nuclear fission. You know, they didn't understand that the sun is just one of billions and billions of stars out there. No, they just saw, look, here's this bright, warm, friendly thing in the sky, and it gives us light, and it gives us life. It helps everything else out. So they created stories to help them understand these things. Now, they used these stories to fill in the gaps of their understanding. Since then, we've explained all these things away, and in the future, we'll be able to explain all the things like what exists outside existence, what's outside the magical aquarium that our universe is in. You know, I'm sure as we learn more about mathematics and dimensions and such, we'll be able to explain the 11th dimension or, you know, membranes of existence. But for now, I feel you should not explain everything with an invisible deity. It leads to an intellectual laziness that you don't even want to bother learning anything new, because it's just as easily explained. It's God. Now, it doesn't take faith to not believe in God. It only takes knowledge of certain facts. And once you've learned these facts, it's really hard to unlearn them. Just like once you were told that your parents lied to you, and that the Santa in the mall isn't real, and that Santa Claus was actually based on a very generous real person called St. Nicholas, but, you know, really Santa Claus is just as fictional as the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. Once these things were made aware to you, you stopped believing in Santa Claus. Once I became knowledgeable of the facts behind God, God became just as mythical as leprechauns and unicorns to me. It only takes the knowledge of these facts that religious people conveniently ignore so that they can continue having faith in their beliefs that give them comfort. And here's a fact. Atheism is not a religion.